Hi, I'm Amy Astley, Editor-in-Chief of Architectural Digest. Welcome to a special episode of AD Visits, brought to us with sponsor Miele. Today, we have a special tour of my friend, the designer Sasha Bykhoff's house in the Hamptons. Sasha's really known for color, for this exuberant personality, sort of Marie Antoinette meets Barbie's Playhouse meets Studio 54. This house is all of those things and more, but it also has a kind of Belgian minimalism to it. It's very state-of-the-art, but it's very warm and welcoming at the same time. I really enjoyed taking this tour, and I hope you will too.
Hi, AD, it's Sasha Bykhoff. Welcome to my Hamptons home. Come on in. The inspiration of my home was really nature. My goal was to bring the outdoors in. I wanted to create a really relaxed but also luxury environment. I surf, I swim, I paddleboard, and I wanted the interiors to reflect that. I decided to do wall paneling in French oak throughout the space because it was reminiscent of the sand right outside. I chose an Esmeralda onyx on my kitchen countertops and island because the greens and the turquoise tones really resembled the bay. I also chose these Ann Morris pendant lights in matte black, this sailor, industrial, kind of nautical vibe. I wanted the kitchen to feel like it was part of the whole home and not necessarily stand out, but just blend together. So I really wanted to do kind of this open shelving. I have a combination of glassware, which felt really, really light, but I have some touches of colored cups that also match perfectly with my onyx. For my fixtures, I went with an industrial nautical look by Watermark. I chose a custom verdigris finish. I really entertain out here. I have guests, I have friends, I have family over, and I'm a big cook. I actually go fishing almost every single day and catch beautiful black sea bass, striped bass, and one of my favorite dishes is to actually roast a whole fish. So this oven is really great for that and makes the food taste fresh when you're cooking at all these different temperatures and operating modes. Convection bake, convection roast, surround roast, any setting you want. The Miele griddle is super fun and it's a great way to start my morning. I have a beautiful view of the water while I'm frying my fresh eggs. I feel like I'm at a 1950s diner, which is totally my vibe. I didn't want the traditional hood that comes from the ceiling because I have these beautiful high wooden beam ceilings. So I decided to use this hood. It comes right up and it's the perfect marriage between function and fashion. It goes perfectly with the rest of the house and I'm able to cook on the stovetop, cook in the oven, enjoy the view, and also enjoy my time entertaining friends. The worst part of entertaining is definitely the dishes. However, my new dishwasher is kind of magic. My favorite part of the dishwasher is the knock-knock. I decided to do the wood paneling over the dishwasher so that you can't even see that it's there. With AutoDose, all I have to do is click start and the detergent fills automatically. And I could manage my dishes on the Miele app. It's easy to go, you don't have to think about it. Now we're in the back secret pantry. This was a really great way to hide all the prep work and the cutting of entertaining and cooking. I wood paneled all of my appliances, so we are keeping with this really sleek, minimalistic look. And you can just push to open the fridge. Voila. It's temperature controlled, so I know that all my fresh produce from the farmer's market, my eggs, all of my protein, and the fish that I catch will always stay fresh in here. The wine cooler was really important for me. People love to come here for sunset, cocktail hour. This piece was great because it's minimalistic in its design. It doesn't take away from the rest of the wood paneling, and you can just push, the wine cooler opens. For my dining space, I chose a Werner Panton moon pendant from the 60s. The table I custom made, and it's the same wood finish as my walls, my ceilings, and my floors. The chairs are antique, and they came originally from an all-girls boarding school in Connecticut. It just adds the perfect antique touch. Now we enter my living room. This is my favorite couch ever. It's a Desede nonstop couch from the 70s. It works really well with the Japanese plaster on my fireplace and on my ceilings. My horseshoe crab sconces made of resin, which I had made in France. Here, I decided to do a huge block of French limestone as my fireplace mantle. This is a coffee table from the 1950s by Roger Caprone, almost fossil-like tiles of different leaves. The wood complements all the vegetation outside, and it really brings the outdoors in. In we go to guest bedroom 1. I really wanted this room to feel like a little jewel box, and I wanted my guests to have the full seaside experience, so I went with this coastal motif. Throughout my home, all of my hardware is of Megalodon shark teeth, which is from my new hardware collection from S.A. Baxter. Now we're in guest room 2, which is the Uptown Toile room, part of my fabric and wallpaper collection with Vervain. It has a Brigitte Bardot, Audrey Hepburn-esque woman living her best life, kind of like how I envision my life out here. One of my pieces I bought for my home is a vintage apothecary chest. It also feels very Americana. Come on. We're gonna take AD into the main bedroom, also known as my boudoir. For my main bedroom, I wanted the inspiration to be Mediterranean, kind of like if you were in Greece. So I covered the walls, the floors, and the ceilings in Japanese plaster. I decided to also do a plaster built-in bed and nightstand, so you kind of feel like you're in a little cocoon. I have an ensuite bathtub. It's a 16th century Dutch map. I covered the bathtub and the wall with my mosaic tile collection that I do with New Ravenna called Atlas Major, and I love the idea of being able to take a bath and look right out onto the water. The inspiration for my den was high visibility, neon, out at sea. I chose a Maharam fabric that's almost in a grid-like, that again has the color of sand, but also has this neon orange. This is a Kelvin Laverne table from the 70s. It was actually my grandfather's, and it was in every single one of his homes, and I inherited it. It's etched with these beautiful colors of, again, verdigris and orange, and it has this bronze motif in it, which feels really appropriate to my Zen oasis. Now we're in my laundry room. The great thing about my washer dryer is that with Autodose, it fully detects how much detergent you need for perfect care of your sweaters, your linens, or your beach towels. And I can fully function my washing machine with my phone, just like the dishwasher. The best part about this house is the great outdoors and the property. I created this little walkway to the bay for the perfect sunset moments. And at the end, a limestone bench, which actually is the same piece of stone cut in half that's on my fireplace mantle. Thank you, AD, for visiting my home. It's been a blast, but now it's time for cocktail hour. Bye.
Today's design chat is between Sasha, of course, and myself. It's from an event we did for Friends of AD last month in October. We talked all about this house, how she envisioned it, how long she's been working on it, the beautiful open kitchen she designed for it with Mila, her sort of unlikely beginnings as a designer. And we talk about Sasha's references, her influences. She has a singular flair, I think, and an original take on interior design. Enjoy the talk.
Hi, Amy. It's so nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Will you tell us a little bit about the beginnings of your career as a designer?
My love for design, my career started when I moved to Paris for college, and I would walk around the streets of Saint-Germain, look at all of the antique stores and the vintage stores. I'd go to the Marché aux Puces for the weekend, and it became a passion of mine. Fast forward 4 years later, my mother had two decorators work on her apartment in the Dakota. And I said, Mom, I'm gonna do your apartment. I'm just gonna do it. The apartment was finally done, and it was like a mishmash of all different inspirations. And everyone was like, who's this 25-year-old, you know, with this kind of style who's doing this right now? And after that, it just, my career kind of blew up, and I started getting emails in, and it was all history from there.
Everybody thinks of you for like an explosion of the Kips Bay, you know, the stairwell. You turned the stairwell into something like a kaleidoscope. And I think of your connection to Donatella Versace and color. I think of color for you. So tell us about designing a more minimal house and kitchen.
I wanted the exterior of the house and the landscape and the sea outside and the woodlands. I wanted to bring that into my home. So I decided to work with a very natural color palette, very natural textures. I really pushed myself to an uncomfortable place as a designer, but now that I did this, I feel like I can, do all sorts of things in terms of design.
You have just finished building your dream house in the Hamptons from the ground up. And I want to ask you, what was the most important space for you as you approached the design?
The common areas. So the living room, kitchen, and dining room. In the past, when I'd be cooking, I was missing out on entertaining and the conversations and the drinking. And this way, I'm in the kitchen cooking, but I could be around my guests. And it brings togetherness in the home, which is what summer is about for me. I really wanted a kitchen that reflected the outdoors and brought this sense of nature into the home, but I also wanted it to be really minimalist and kind of disappear within the space.
How did you approach the appliances? Like, do you have everything super state of the art for Mila?
I'm a really big cook. I grew up in the kitchen. When I first moved into the house last week and I started using Mila's appliances, I thought to myself, like, I could just leave this stuff to be and go about my day, my business, and I can, do other things because I trust that these appliances are doing the work for me. I actually put my oven into my kitchen island, and I didn't want a hood that was going to obstruct my ceiling. I put my fingertip on a button, and the exhaust for the Miele stovetop just literally comes up like this. It's literally technology at its finest. It's really, really cool.
I can't wait to come over and visit you and cook up a storm. I'll come over from the North Fork when I get back there. Tell me about some of the appliances that you're using in your kitchen and how you're thinking about them for your clients.
I'm designing a kitchen in Palm Beach. I'm designing a kitchen in Connecticut. And I'm thinking about, these clean lines in a kitchen, not having any handles, and just being able to touch of a button to be able to open or knock on your appliances, and voila. So with my kitchen, I don't have any hardware. It's all touch and push on all of my cabinetry. It just disappears. It's not obstructive. It's not only like a style thing, it's a functional thing. And to be able to have a perfect marriage between the two it's really hard to find. And I think that we found that here.
Somehow you mix it all up in a way that feels, I think, really fresh and also really Sasha.
I want people to come into my house here or into any of my spaces and feel like they're encapsulated by design and kind of get like this full body visceral reaction from the design. Because people are not really traveling and going to hotels and going to restaurants, I'm finding that people are wanting this experience in their own home.
It is a profound shift as a way to spend your money and your time and your attention on your environment instead of always on what you're wearing and maybe on where you're traveling and things like that. I think it will stick, actually.
Me too.
Sasha, it was so fun speaking to you virtually today. I miss you so much. I think we covered your entire life. I learned today that you're a gourmet chef. I had no idea that you were such an incredible cook. And when COVID is over, I am inviting myself over to your house for dinner.
And I will create a feast for you.
It can't happen soon enough.